Hey guys! Yesterday Gab and I went all the way to Kyoto to visit the 5th annual Bitsummit convention, which is an indie game convention. This was our first time going to Bitsummit, and while it was a little bit smaller than we anticipated, it was really great. There were a lot of really cool people and really cool games that we could try out. So if you are ever in Kyoto when Bitsummit's going on, make sure to visit. We were invited because Gab was part of a panel, but we'll get into that in a bit. First, let's take a look at some games. First on the list was Ruiner, which we played at the Devolver booth. Ruiner is a cyberpunk-inspired game with some little touches of Metal Gear Solid in there here and there. I played a little bit, but Gab played a little bit more than I did, so what did you think?
Gab here. Overall, it seemed like a very polished game with a cool sci-fi vibe. The controls seemed a bit confusing at first, so although I did get the hang of it eventually, I'd definitely prefer a controller for this game. They did say the game will have controller support when it officially releases. If you're a fan of Enter the Gungeon, I think you might like this game as well.
Most games we just played a demo, but one game, we actually got an interview with the producer. So we're playing Tiny Metal on Switch. Alright, so this game will be out in
around October. We haven't decided on a publisher yet.
Okay.
So we don't know for sure.
Tiny Metal is an Advance Wars inspired game that was on Kickstarter last year, but unfortunately didn't get funded. Despite that, the creators continued work on the game. Just last week it was announced that the game would also be coming to Nintendo Switch. And believe it or not, we've got the first footage of the game running on a Switch. Can't be. Might be the Colonel's transport washed up on the shore. They're not responding to our hails. It's getting closer. Appears to be drifting along the shore. Tiny Metal will feature Japanese voice acting and some English voice acting, and of course English text. So you can play the game in English with Japanese voiceovers. I played 3 missions, 2 story missions and 1 later skirmish mode. In the first 2 missions I only had limited resources, but in the later skirmish mode I had access to 6 different unit types, ranging from tanks, SUVs, and of course normal riflemen and bazooka guys.
Uh-oh.
Oh, that didn't go as I planned.
Oh, it's pretty strong.
Unlike in Advance Wars, the direction a unit faces is very important. What's your favorite thing about the game?
The ability to not get pinned down, because previously in games like this, it's easy to pin each other down, and it just take ages, and you just push infantrymen and then as meat shields, and you put artillery, and that's it. But in this game, because we have facings and vulnerability in regards to where you're attacking from, it's easy to crumple a section of an army so that you can,
So
go
flanking
ahead.
is really important.
Exactly.
As opposed to
Exactly.
Advance Wars, for example. Now the Kickstarter had some stretch goals that obviously it didn't make. One of those stretch goals was an online multiplayer. This will be in the final game. One of the Kickstarter's planned stretch goals was a map editor, but unfortunately that seems to have been scrapped at this point. I'm really glad I got to play Tiny Metal. I did actually back the Kickstarter and I was very disappointed when it didn't get funded. I used to really love the Advance Wars games, and there hasn't really been anything like it. Fire Emblem is similar, of course, but not quite the same. The game will be released digitally, and maybe, depending on the publisher, physically.
But publisher should be confirmed by mid next month.
Okay.
Fingers crossed.
Well, I'm very excited. I loved Advance Wars back in the day, and I'm not good at strategy games, but I like them.
That's okay.
So
that's okay. That is completely okay.
I'll get this game and I'll get good.
Yeah. Once you get the knack of it, it's not too hard.
It's not too hard. Yeah. Even I can do it. Maybe. Okay. Well, thank you very much for showing it to us.
Thank you.
Thank you, and we're looking forward to it.
Thank you very much.
Great. Tiny Metal is set for release later this year on PlayStation 4, PC, Mac, and of course Nintendo Switch. It wasn't just indie developers at Bitsummit this year. Sony and the Big N itself were there as well. They had some space set up with Switches and new digital titles, mostly digital titles. The one I played was Mr. Shifty, which is out now. It was actually pretty fun. I know it's been out on PC for a little bit, but I hadn't played it before. And essentially it's you play like Nightcrawler from the X-Men comic books, just teleporting to different rooms and killing a bunch of dudes. Gameplay was quick and fun, so I really enjoyed it. The next game I play is called Earth Atlantis, which is a Jules Verne-inspired shmup. As you progress, your ship becomes bigger and more powerful, shooting missiles from all angles, really. While it looks nice, it wasn't really my thing. Honestly, the gameplay to me felt a little bit tedious, but then again, I am not really into shmups, so if you are, this might be a nice game for you.
Stifled is the game I'm most excited for out of everything I saw at Bitsummit. I played the demo before, and this time the game was compatible with PlayStation VR, so I really wanted to try it out, but there was a line the entire day. For anyone who doesn't know about Stifled yet, it's a horror game where your environment only comes into view based on what you hear. Think of games like Perception or Dark Echo.
As some of you may know, I'm currently playing, for the first time in my life, playing Castlevania Symphony of the Night here on this channel. So one of the games that I was really interested in was called Brave Earth Prologue, which is heavily inspired by NES-era Castlevania games. So I checked that out, and it was pretty cool. It's really hard, which isn't that strange when you realize that the guy who made Brave Earth is also the guy who made I Want to Be the Guy, which is a notoriously hard retro-style game. The Castlevania influences are very strong here. From what I've been told, it's mostly inspired by Castlevania 3, which honestly I haven't played yet, but I did play through Castlevania 1 back in the day, and it looks really reminiscent of that in a good way. So even though this game is probably going to be very hard and very frustrating at times, it looks like it's going to be very good too, so I am looking forward to playing it in the future. Also, Koji Igarashi was present, and yes, he did play Brave Earth. Iconoclasts was another very interesting game that I tried out. It's been 7 years in the making, from what I understand, and you play as a girl with a wrench, using the wrench to open doors and solve puzzles, while beating enemies with your gun or your ground stomp. The game looked great, the art style is very pretty, it had a great vibe to it, so yeah, also looking forward to this puzzle platformer. Although Bitsummit is nowhere near as big as TGS, there was still a lot to see, and unfortunately we didn't get to play everything that we wanted to play. As you can see, there were tons of interesting looking games, but the reason that we came to Bitsummit in the first place was because Gab was invited to be part of a panel.
The panel was about being an English streamer in Japan. It was super scary because it was my first time doing a panel, but I think I did okay, and it was great to see my subs in the live streams chat. It was a great experience, and I hope to be back there next year.
We had a great time at Bitsummit this year, so if you have a chance, make sure to go. Thanks for watching, and bye-bye!